Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go now. Just kidding.
Hello and welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffee Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all as well as the podcast on Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 29 of another Woodshop podcast. And
Hello,
just
hello,
so you guys
hello.
all know, we all
What's
got
up?
into a fight in a pre-show. We're all mad at each other.
We did. None of us
Hey,
are
how
happy
are you
about this
guys?
podcast, and we're
Yeah.
probably all gonna walk before the show's over.
Mike, why don't you tell us about your day or whatever you have to say now?
Well, generally we don't talk about that here. Right at this point, we talk about our sponsor, and that sponsor happens to be a little company called Total Boat.
Dude.
Total Boat. No, big thank you to
Dude.
Total Boat for sponsoring the show. We do appreciate them very much. They offer epoxies and finishes, and they're a great company. They're really supportive of the woodworking community. They're really supportive of just what everyone does. I mean, they have great products. They have some great finishes. I really want to try that Gleam satin really bad. I'm actually going to order some of that this next week because I want to put that on my outfeed table. So
Can you spray that? I wonder. Can you spray?
I believe you can spray that one. I'm pretty sure it's similar to, it's a varnish. I don't know
Is
why
it a
you
water
couldn't-
base?
Yeah. Water-based.
Mhm.
Water-based.
You know what else they have?
Water bashed?
They have adhesives because
They do?
epoxy's an adhesive.
Yeah, they have epoxy. I have a pile of that. Just used it actually yesterday to fix something in my shop. The Total Boat 2-to-1 high performance fast. Anyway, big thank you to Total Boat. We really do appreciate them supporting us. If you could please support them by giving them some business, that would help us as well. So what, Dan?
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay, Dan, go ahead
right.
and stroke your beardless face. And a huge thank you to our patrons. You guys are the reason we get to do this awesome show. We get to do these extra shows. I don't know if you guys caught it, but we did a little mini show this week. It was a lot of fun. Actually,
So
really
dope.
good one too. And
So
if
dope.
you want to continue to help support the show, get some behind the scenes extra content, pre-shows, all that fun jazz, make sure to check us out on patreon.com/another woodshop podcast. And Mike, I do believe we got some new patrons.
Yeah, we did. In fact, it's funny you mentioned that because that happened.
Yeah.
We got 4 new patrons this week. Thank you so much. Adrienne Vita, thank you to her. She's been very active. We really appreciate that. She got lots of questions over to us. We have Jarrett Minasali and Josh Mulliken and Abel Dominguez and Sean. Is that 5? Was Adrienne last week? Did I read her
Adrienne
twice?
was last week.
Oh, I apologize. Well, thank you, Adrienne. You got 2 mentions.
Double thank you.
Yeah, then we got and Sean Marks. So thank you to those 4 plus Adrienne. Thank you so much, guys. We really do appreciate it so much.
I really do.
Do we don't text me what you were laughing about. We do appreciate the business. So anyway, I think we can just
I didn't want to interrupt your sponsor read.
no, I want to hear it. I love it. It's fun. It keeps it natural and flowing. But hey, I think we're gonna slide over into our segment that's called "What's on My Bench." And since Dan just sang that, we're gonna throw it over to Dan. Dan, what's on your bench?
Walnut does.
What? Well,
Okay, so anyways, on my bench is
wasn't done.
I
there's
want to hear
more.
about some custom things you made for it
Yeah.
this week.
custom
Yeah. So if you didn't listen to our mini show 28.33333 till your
You're
face
an
turns blue.
idiot.
Yes, first of all, you're not smart. I made some super bougie bespoke walnut door stops for my wife's classroom.
So nice.
She
Have you seen these door stops? They're gorgeous.
She texted me the other night and asked me if I had any extra wood to make door stops, and I was like, yeah. Do you even
Have you
know
even
me?
seen my shop? And she's like, no, I literally have never seen your shop.
I won't go out
Did
there.
you make it out of 8-foot like 1/4-inch strips of it?
No,
Yeah.
I should have though.
You folded them over and glued them up.
But I found
Veneered
the gnarliest, curliest, most beautiful piece of walnut I could find in my shop, and I made 3 doorstops.
Fancy.
And
Leave
that
it-
was the
leave it
name.
to
That was the name
Dan.
of the mini
The
episode we
mini,
did.
the surprise episode.
Yeah.
Leave
They're
it to
that
Dan
big of
to
a
just try
deal.
to prove a point with the fanciest wood he's got in the shop that happens to be an
Right?
offcut.
But besides that, by this time next week, the walnut desk will be done.
So excited for that.
I
Oh
guarantee.
my god.
I am
cannot wait.
currently sanding and putting finish on the drawer carcass. That is the last piece of the puzzle. Mike is getting bored and tired. He's yawning.
I've heard
I
this
know
story
everybody-
33 times in a row.
Everybody's tired of this story.
Walnut
I just
bench.
started spraying it with lacquer today, so I'm
Sweet.
really excited. I made
Did-
my own drawer slides.
Can I interrupt real quick? Did I see some blushing on your story?
Blushing.
On your finish? It looks like I had some blushing on it.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna sand that out?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sand it out tomorrow. That just comes from blushing is like the lacquer got kind of opaque, and that comes from
Too much
putting
butter.
on too much all at once. It comes from putting
You're
on a
supposed to use
second.
unsalted butter when you're using lacquer. Everyone knows that.
An idiot. Okay, I just wanted it to have that popcorn movie smell.
Love this bench.
Never mind. What I was gonna say is the lacquer having that opaque look comes from putting on too much lacquer too fast, and I didn't let the coat underneath dry or cure fast enough.
How's that great? Or how's that Greco? How's that Fuji?
I love it. The
Yeah.
video looks like it's got a ton of overspray, but that's because, and this goes back to the pre-show know-it-alls. Oh, look at all that overspray. Yes, I know. It has a ton of overspray because I accidentally bought brushing lacquer, and to spray brushing lacquer, you have to thin it down, and I thinned it down a little too much.
Oh, okay. Too
But
much mineral spirits.
Lacquer thinner.
Lacquer thinner. Yeah, duh, lacquer.
But yeah, it sprays great. It lays down a really even coat. Just don't over thin the lacquer and you won't get a lot of overspray. But I love it. It's so fast. It's great. I love it.
Cool. I really want to make that jump to a nice sprayer in the next few months.
I should have bought it a long time ago. Anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of where I can tell that like I'm gonna get it and be like, I probably should have got this a while ago.
Yeah. Anyway, Pete, what's on Mike's bench?
Go.
Is it me or him?
No, it's you.
Mike.
Me? Oh, Pete's in the middle of something. Pete's updating his
Doing show notes,
YouTube
just
description
doing-
for his first video.
doing show
No, this week has been a lot's been going on, but it's just for the shop remodel. So, I'm going to tell the whole story on the CNC since I didn't go into that. So, my CNC. Okay, so let's start over. Monday.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Let's go to the
See,
beginning.
in first grade.
Mike was born in Sacramento.
Back in March, I actually wasn't. I was born in LA. But back in March, we started a podcast. And no, on Monday, I actually had for the first time in a few weeks with my job I didn't have a just slam packed day. So when my wife took off with my son to go drop him off at daycare, I didn't shower. I just went to my office and started working. And I was just kind of having a chill day. Luna was over here, hobo snoring and farting away. And I was just kind of working. And at like 9:30 in the morning, I got a knock on my door. And I'm like, no, that's weird. I don't expect anything. And there's a gentleman with a very thick Russian accent. And he tells me he's got a delivery for me. And I'm like, okay, just put it at the door. He's like, no, it's.
Can we do a role play where Pete does the Russian accent guy?
Hello.
Hey,
I
I
have
have
mess-
delivery for you.
Was it you? No. So he's like, no, this isn't. I can't like drop it off. I was like, what are you
I
talking
can't
about?
just drop off. This
Okay,
is very
I'm gonna
big.
text you the dialogue. Hold on, we're gonna role play right now.
Please do.
So I'm like, what do you have? Where are you coming from? He's like, I'm coming from Dallas. I was like, do you have
Oh,
my
from Russia.
CNC machine? Yeah, I came from Mother Russia. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but it's from Dallas and it's from Laguna. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I never got a call. The freight broker, this is not Laguna's fault. This is the broker for them never called me. He emailed me last week to make sure I'll have the lift and to make sure I'm home if there's any days I'm home, which I've been working from home, so it didn't matter. But they just never called. So I call the broker and I chew him out. And I'm like, dude, this driver's here. I don't know if you know this or not, but I used to have I still have my Class A license, and I used to be a delivery driver. And I know how frustrating it is when you're making a delivery and they can't accept it for some dumb reason that's out of your hands. Well, luckily this guy was super chill. He was like, just make some phone calls, try to figure it out, dude. So
They probably just had a bottle of vodka in a cab. That's
say it,
fine.
Pete. Say just try to figure it out.
You take care of phone calls. I have a bottle of nice vodka.
Role playing over. Okay. So so I call the guy, I call the freight hauler, I chew them out, and he's like, I'm so sorry, we just didn't call you. I'm like, yeah, I know. So the guy's like, look, what do I do? I just sit here? I was like, well, let me make a phone call. So I called my equipment rental company that I had set up my lift with. And I was like, dude, I need this out here as soon as you can possibly get it. They got it out to me in like 4 hours, which was amazing. It was a big lift. I rented a 10K reach grade all lift. And they got it there. The driver was cool. I got him a soda or whatever, a soda water. And he was like, just chill. He's like, I don't have another appointment for a day and a half, like 8 hours from here. He's like, it's not a big deal. He's like, I can hang out here until late tonight. So machine got there. I called my father-in-law. He lives about 20 minutes away. He said he'd get down there. And then I called Leland over at Stockbuilt, Leland Stock. He works like 5 minutes from me and he lives about 20 minutes away. But I was like, hey, could you come over and help us? And Leland, before I was off the phone with him, he was already at my house. He's such a good dude. He just jetted over there and he was like ready to help. And then one of my coworkers was coming by to borrow my log splitter. And I forgot to call him and tell him what was going on. And he showed up right when we're unloading the thing. And he's like, oh, I want to help. So there ended up I went from having no help to having 3 people helping and then the lift. So it worked out really well. The pallet was 10 feet long and 7 feet wide. And I had originally ordered 6-foot forks on this thing, so it could go almost all the way across it, but they didn't have it because of the surprise delivery. They had 4-foot forks. So that's more, you want 50% of the length of the span with your forks when you're going across stuff. So I had that because it was 7 feet, which would be 3.5 feet, but it was still pretty tippy. So we strapped the pallet to the forks, and getting it off the truck was the most daunting part. Once I got it off the truck and onto the ground, it was way less stressful. And we had to use a pallet jack and the lift to get the machine off the pallet. And then we had to pallet jack it down my driveway, which isn't super steep, but it's not a flat driveway. It's not as steep as Dan's, but it's like half as steep as yours, Dan. Then we got into the shop and I got my CNC. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. I had to take off the rest of the day basically, but it was it's super cool. I got my CNC in there and I got it set up. And today Rusty with Macbeth came over. It was super nice. It's always a good time spending time with Rusty. We put together my dust collector, which took us 6.5 hours. That's a nightmare. But we had a ton of fun just making fun of people. It's just the best. We were just putting that together, and I got my bandsaw put together, my new bandsaw put together during the week. And I just ran to Home Depot today and got the rest of the electrical supplies. And my uncle and my cousin are coming over first thing in the morning, and we're going to wrap up the electrical. The CNC is going to have power. The dust collector is going to have power. I'm going to be moving the other dust collector into the CNC shop, and I should be, for the bulk of the work for my remodel I've been doing is done. So I'm really excited about that. I cannot wait to get back to making stuff. I'm so ready to cut some wood. So I've got 4 orders on my bench right now, and there's some possibilities of some others coming up. So I've got 2 of these. I make these like Lego tray things. And on Monday, I haven't had an order on Etsy since like June. I never get anything on Etsy. It's always through my website. And on Monday, when I'm on the phone call trying to figure out what the heck happened and why this delivery came, I got 2 orders in like a 30-minute span from Etsy. And I'm like, of course, when I don't have a shop, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, but I'm lucky to even have an order. So yeah, I got those. And then I've got this bench I'm going to be building. And then I've got this table I'm working on, and I've got this table is going to be awesome. Like it's a lock, but there's some details we got to iron out still. So, oh, and I got it's really cool. I didn't tell you guys about this. I've got an old friend of mine who he's like a big wig at Microsoft, and we last year he placed some orders with me, but this
His
year
name's
he
Bill?
went. No, not that big. He's like he's part of the gaming division. He's like a VP over there at Microsoft at the Xbox division.
Millennial.
And last year he bought like a handful of bottle openers from me. Well, this year him and his wife, he texted me. We were texting back and forth. He's like, we want to get all of our like not super close family and friends, like our our kind of close friends. We want to order cutting boards for all of them. It's like 50 cutting boards they want to order, all personalized.
Pete's already got 37 made. Maybe you can work out
I
a
just
deal.
need 13. I'll subcontract
Outsource,
Pete.
bro. Outsource.
So yeah, they want like a pile of cutting boards. So I've got to, once I get the CNC up, I'm gonna glue up a bunch of panels. That thing's gonna cut everything out for me. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm hoping that's something me and Pete can do when you guys are here in town. I'm hoping we can kind of make a file to figure that out. I want to try to figure
We're
that out.
gonna
It's
go
gonna be fun.
nuts.
So we can go crazy. But yeah, so that's me. That's been my week. It's been really crazy. I'm really tired. Like the last 3 weeks have been very exhausting and stressful for me. And I just can't wait. I feel like after tomorrow, I'm going to grab my wife and my son. We're going to go hop in the car. We're going to go drive out to Tahoe just in the morning, just to have a morning off. I need a morning off of no shop time, no nothing. And then as soon as we come back, I'm just going to hit it hard. I'm going to get the CNC running, and it's back to work time. So I need it. I'm really looking forward to it. It's therapy for me in the shop, and I haven't had any of that in weeks. And it just compounds my stress when I don't have my woodworking time. So I'll throw it to Pete though, because I just went really long. Sorry about that, guys. Whoops.
All
Pete,
good. You had
what's on
you had
your
a
bench?
big week. On my
Yeah, it's
bench,
been crazy.
nothing. Just this heavy butt ring on my hand. I got married last week. Thanks.
Heavy
Lefty, for
butt.
covering. I don't know. Can I say ass? Well, I said it.
Whoa,
Oh,
dude,
well.
what the heck?
Too well. Oh well. No,
You know we
yeah.
say butt.
Yeah. Well, too late now. You're gonna have to edit it. Yeah, I got married last week. That was great. The wedding was
Yeah,
the
you
most
actually-
Pinteresty.
We were going to talk about your wedding on the surprise show, and we never really did. Why don't you talk
Kinda
about
did
that?
a little
then?
bit.
You just said it was
Basically,
Pinteresty, and then, I mean, that
it
just seems
was-
like an attack.
It's not an attack. No. It was everything we wanted it to be, and then some. I
That's
got
awesome,
to make
dude.
a ton of stuff for it. All the family helped. I don't know if I mentioned this on the other show, on the mini show, but I'll whatever. I'll say it again. Nobody listens to the mini shows, right? We fired
what I
our
heard.
wedding planner the week of the wedding. That was
Oh, yeah,
exciting.
you didn't talk about that.
Yeah. So it turned out there was things not being done that needed to be done, and we found out on Monday before the wedding on Saturday. Cool. So
Did she not forge the rings yet?
she did not. I had to walk all the way to freaking Mordor, New Jersey. It's terrible. It's a bad neighborhood.
Jeez
To forge
Louise.
my rings. Basically, so we the last week we had to coordinate all the caterers, all of our friends, everyone that was helping out with the wedding, and it worked out freaking magical. Like everything was the whole weekend went.
Well, yeah, you
by
had her
so
do all the work,
perfect.
and then you fired her before the
Yeah, all
It
the
worked
work
out
in
perfect.
quotes,
Everything
all
was
the
done, and
work.
we don't have to pay this idiot. Oh, man.
Yeah. When I called the caterer and they were like, "We need a floor plan. We asked you for a floor plan months ago. You don't need a floor plan." And I'm
That
like,
sucks, man.
"Just give him a floor plan. Why is there no floor plan? It's Monday before the wedding." So that's done. But the whole weekend the wedding went so flawlessly. Just the days after, I was like, "This is a trap, right? Something's gonna blow up. Like it's gonna not work out." No, we just had a great time. It was a good wedding.
That's
It
great,
was
dude.
good. And I'm very happy to say that for the first time in weeks, there is nothing on my bench. And I mean that physically. There is nothing on the bench or the table saw.
Did you get it all cleaned up, all the stuff that came?
Oh my God. All the stuff we brought back from the wedding, I finally got it cleaned up yesterday. And it was like, oh my God, I forgot what the shop looks like when there's nothing anywhere. Because there was, while we're getting everything prepped for the wedding and all that, there's just boxes and things sort of accumulating in there. And the best part was it's like cleaning it all up. And like one of the last things I took off the table saw, I guess I didn't notice it at the time. I went in there last night around like midnight just for something. I was grabbing a water and I go, what did my table saw? And I go over there and apparently there was something in a crate just leaking. And there was this like hand-sized rust spot in the middle of my cast iron.
Oh, that sucks.
So I'm there at like 2:30 or 12:30 in the morning, just like standing it by hand. Luckily, it was fresh, so like the vinegar and stuff cleaned it up. Vinegar is the way to go. I know you guys use different stuff, but sprayed it, sanded it,
I just use water.
buffed it with base wax. Yeah, water. You seal it with water.
Water.
So I was
Water's
like,
the only
well,
way
I
to
didn't
fight
plan
water.
to do this
Everyone
at
knows
12:30 in the morning, but okay, cool. But either way, the shop is cleaned up, and I have nothing that is like a pressing matter. I have nothing that has a due date except my YouTube video, which I'll talk about in a sec. So basically, I get to like get in a shop tomorrow and just kind of just enjoy it. Just work on the
Nice.
stuff that I want to work on, which I haven't
awesome,
done
dude.
in months. Two other quick things. I am going back to teaching tomorrow. So tomorrow's the first day I'm going back to the DIY joint in Hoboken. And
What was that noise?
My freezer.
That it was a noise. So I'm going back to teaching tomorrow. That's pretty exciting. And aside from that, I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Just excited.
What a
to
big week, dude.
get
Congratulations
in
to
the
you guys.
shop.
Really stoked for you.
Thank you.
But
Oh,
a
finally
huge
locked it down.
congrats.
So now she legally has to help me in a shop, right?
Oh, I don't know if that's how it works.
That's how it works for you guys, right? That they do all the sanding.
No,
My
my
wife's
wife
not
doesn't
doing
what?
do a thing in my
Wait,
shop.
what?
Check this out. Check this out. My wife actually asked if she could start helping on some things in the shop. I thought it was a trap. She's like, I just want something to do. All she does is exercise. That's all my wife does. She's like, I figure I could sand stuff. I was like, yeah. And she was also like, she was like,
She's a keeper.
she was like, maybe Coffee Custom Builds should do a newsletter. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I actually was like, that's not a bad idea. If you give her
Where'd you
something to
find
do,
this one.
like a weekly newsletter, I think that'd be kind of, I don't know, just like what's going on in the shop. I don't know.
I think a newsletter would get you more business than social media.
We made that joke today.
I'm sure Rusty agrees.
Rusty made that joke today. That was
Nobody's gonna understand that joke.
No, that's just for us. And Rusty's gonna get it, but Rusty and I were making that
Get
joke
real
today.
mad.
But no, I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. So we were kind of talking about that. So it's kind of cool. But
Oh, damn. Well, we should jump into some questions, right?
I don't think we should do that anymore. I think
All
we
right.
should.
Well, guys,
probably
it's a
stop
great
doing
show.
those on the
Talk to you
show.
next week.
I just make questions, not in the show. I don't think we should do them anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Let me get some questions going here. This first one is from Adrienne Vita. I literally don't remember what it is. I assume it's about woodworking.
Hey guys, it's Adrienne here with Hickory Homestead Creations. So I just had a quick question here this week. So I was asking around a bunch of different people here in the boonies, as I like to refer to it, and I was asking what some of them use as finishing oils for like cutting boards and such, because I wanted to try and make my first cutting board. And so I asked this one person, and they actually said vegetable oil. So I just really want to know how serious of an answer that really was. I really think they, honest to God, use vegetable oil. And so I just want to know, have you guys ever ran across this? All right. Thanks, guys. And thanks again for answering my questions, as always. And keep up the great work.
Dan.
No. Don't use vegetable oil. Use motor oil. It comes with a natural stain.
Ugh.
Use
Arnubo
motor
oil?
oil. Yeah. It gives you that nice walnut stain. No, don't use vegetable oil. It'll go rancid.
Yeah.
Use mineral oil. If you're going to use anything, use mineral oil. It doesn't go rancid. It's food safe, generally. I mean, if you buy the food safe mineral oil. But anyway, yeah, short and sweet. That's my answer. Pete looks like he's got things he wants to say. So, Pete.
Vegetable oil? They just like it's like they want you to fail. No, do not use that. Like they said, it's gonna go rancid. It's gonna be so gross. Mineral oil or even beeswax. Seal it with something natural that doesn't really go bad. Or you can order Daniel Dunlap board butter. Is that what
It's
called?
just mineral oil,
Yep.
beeswax, and coconut oil.
Enchilada.
which is
And
great.
a little Bud Light Chilada.
Honestly,
for
so
spice.
here's an honest question to you guys. I've never used coconut oil, but I know that stuff keeps forever. It's like
It keeps
so
forever. I usually just use a tiny bit just
for a
for
scent, right?
a scent. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never actually tried it, but that's actually a good question. But yeah, 100% mineral oil will not go bad. It will not go rancid. It'll just stay good. And even, I mean, technically, we've had this conversation before. Is like like a varnish will technically become food safe once it's cured. So even I mean, or even like try like Odie's oil or something. That's technically oils and waxes that should be safe once it's cured. Oh,
And
Mike, what do you think?
I
Yeah,
talk.
go ahead.
I'm gonna jump back in here. I've talked to the local Osmo rep, and he says that Osmo Pollux
Pollux,
oil can
it is.
actually be used for cutting boards.
It's food safe.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Chad over at Rescue Woodco's use. Chad over at
Hmm.
Rescued Woodco uses a lot.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Odie's definitely works as food
Yeah.
safe. I have my first board with it on there. It's I'm actually going to be doing the water test. It's been 3 weeks now this weekend.
Is that the one that was hanging up on a wall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I haven't actually, I wanted to, because I was going to do, that board was for my wife, but it's also for a test because I wanted to see how I want to do all my boards this holiday with Odie's oil. Because I want to see how it holds up. So I'm going to do the water test video here like this weekend, I think, because I'm going to be pouring water on it from the sink and see how that holds up, because it's been 3 weeks and they say 2 to 3 weeks. So I want to see how that actually holds up. And we're supposed to have some friends over this week, and I'd like to actually have it be used to prep food on it and see how it holds up, because the other brand I've used, 50% of the time after the first wash, it looks dull, like there's no oil on there. So I'm kind of tired of that happening. So I'd like to not have my customers be disappointed by the product. So I'm going to be trying that. But mineral oil is cheap. I think they actually pay you a couple bucks to get it out of the store. So you can buy a
I get mine off
can get it
Amazon
at
by
a
the gallon for
pharmacy.
like 12
Yeah.
bucks.
yeah,
I get it
you
on
get
Amazon, but you can walk into a pharmacy and buy it.
and you can buy like a rubber tote, or not, a plastic tote, and you can fill it up like as deep as the board and throw the board in there.
That's what I do.
And
Yeah.
it's just dirt cheap. So
And
that's
then I filter it back into the bottle, and
Yeah.
good to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put it in there and put a lid on the tote and just save it for later.
Yeah, you could do that.
Could you do that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can't do that. I've never actually used.
boards, you can do that. But
Yeah, I
even
think if you're moving through it
so
regularly.
she's saying she's doing her first board, so you may not be doing a lot of them. You might just be doing the one or a couple. So even pouring it on there, just rubbing it in by hand, making sure it goes in all the pores, you're gonna be fine.
It needs to soak for a while with mineral oil, right?
Yeah.
Just
Well, you can put on a
pour
thick
on
coat
a-
on there.
Pour on a heavy coat.
It doesn't
and
have to
just
be.
let it sit.
It doesn't have to be in a bath.
No,
It doesn't have to be in a
don't.
bath. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that because I've never used it. But yeah, that's like tried and true. I mean, that's what they've done forever.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was a lot of time on that question. Don't use vegetable oil; it will stink very bad
Yeah.
very soon. So,
Bad.
this next question is from Bruce Ulrich, from the account called Bruce Ulrich. Actually, on Instagram, he's
That's
Brudaddy.
Brudaddy.
Yeah, love me some Bruce.
Hey guys, enjoying the show. This is Bruce from Brudaddy on Instagram. Just had a question. I know I've talked to Mike a good bit, and he just got a CNC, so he's gearing up to do some production work, more content. I guess I'm curious for the other two guys. Dan, is it kind of more the same? Are you gearing up content? Are you just going to keep trucking on with some cool, commission work? And same with you, Pete. I know in a previous episode, you said something about, you've really got to get more content out there. Is that a focus of yours, or, what does the next 6 months look like as far as goals and content and producing things in person? Thanks, guys. Hope you have a good one.
I'll take this
Lefty?
one first.
Oh,
Huh?
sorry. Nothing.
Did you call me Lefty? No, I'll take this one first because I'll be brief. But Bruce and I do talk a lot. I talk to Bruce a lot, probably every day. And these guys know my thoughts on it. But I bought the CNC to increase productivity on certain items, and be able to do things I couldn't do before. So it's me trying to up the level of my small business and trying to get more out of my business. I want to do more out of my business. And it's very important to me that I also do more with my content. The last month has been a boondoggle because I've been doing I just can't do all these things. Something had to take a hit. And I haven't done a YouTube video in a month, which I miss a lot. I really want to do a YouTube video like ASAP. And my Instagram feed has been basically reposts of my own old stuff or me putting up installation, which no one in my audience cares about. I'm putting up stuff what I was doing, but it's like, I don't think it's like amazing content. So for me, I want fall to be an absolutely bonkers period for Coffee Custom Builds. I want to take on a lot of new builds, take on a bunch of new challenges for things I've never done, and I want to really take my content to the next level. So that's my goal. So I'm going to pass it over to Dan.
It's going to be a whole lot. I wouldn't say it's going to be a lot of the same, because I don't do the same stuff over and over, but it will be more commission work. But I would like to start hammering on the content a little bit more. I do need to get more YouTube videos out. I am missing that. I feel like this Walnut desk has just been like controlling my life for the last 3 months. I should have been doing like YouTube content for the Walnut desk, but man, that would have slowed me down even more than I've already been slowed down. So
I don't even think that would have done, you know what I mean? Like it feels like unless you're like building something bonkers, I feel like just a furniture build is filler content almost.
yeah, everybody knows that shop builds do the best on YouTube.
Yeah, shop builds are the best, and like crazy builds, like
right,
a Jackman hammer or something like that, where it's like
yeah,
bonkers, like
things that are insane
that,
and like one off and crazy. Yeah,
but not that you shouldn't have done it. You still should have done the content because someone would have watched, but it would have made your already long process take even longer.
Right, and I got more commissions in the books.
Yeah, no one can blame you, man, for sure.
I got bills to pay, so I have a teak shower floor to make, and we're not talking about some little shower floor. This thing's gonna be 4 foot by 6 foot, and it needs to have leveling feet on it. Yeah, it's gonna be slatted. It's it's gonna be in a shower, so the water needs to go through it. I have all the teak already. I need to build 3 barn doors for one client. I need to wrap a mantle and build 3 floating shelves for another client on site. And then my wife has a whole bunch of stuff that I need to make if I ever get to it.
This is all this year.
This is all this year. And I just met with a potential client 2 days ago about building them a giant table for their newly remodeled kitchen. I was at their home and it's gorgeous. And yeah, hopefully that comes through. I'd really like to do that.
Hey, you're going to be busy.
I'm busy, but yes, I definitely want to make more content. I really enjoy that. And to be perfectly honest, that's another avenue of income. And, I don't like leaving that on the table that much. Mike's probably like shaming me for not doing the TikTok thing anymore, but
no, I'm not. Let's be clear. I'm not. I get it. It's hard. Like
it's tough.
The timing on it couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Really couldn't have.
I've had to cut time away from YouTube, which is a really important long-term goal for me for this quick hitter. I don't want to go into it too much, but I couldn't pass it up. I mean, I don't want to say what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't pass it up. It's easy. Anyway, I'm not shaming you at all. You're busy. I know it. So I will make jokes a lot.
Oh yeah. I expect it.
I mean,
please do.
I'm going to make fun of you in public.
If you don't, I'm going to be like, Mike's mad at me. He's not making fun of me.
Never.
So yeah, I got a lot on my plate. Hopefully I can ramp up the content a little bit. I'm certainly not going anywhere. I'm always going to be on Instagram at least.
Yeah.
Unless that gets canceled or shut down by the government.
Cancel Instagram.
Anyway, Pete, tell us about you and your plans.
Well, for me, I guess I'm a unique case because I'm not, at least right now, I'm not planning to go full time with any of this. That being said, I want this to replace my income. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I think the job I'm doing, and if we stay remote, because I do like IT support, I'm working from home. If we actually stay remote, I can continue doing both, and well, why not double my income instead of just replace it? You know, if as long as I can sustain it. As far as what I actually want to put out, my biggest thing right now is content. The wedding is done. I'm out of excuses. I need to be on YouTube. I will be putting out videos. I have several videos almost entirely shot, um, although be it kind of disorganized and not really planned out because I didn't really know what I was doing. I want to get out as many as possible. And I talked to the guys. I set a kind of a deadline for myself by next Friday or the latest by the time I fly out to see Mike and Dan in California, I need to have a video out on my channel, at least one. And I'm hoping to have more than one, but we'll see. Let's just get
You won't have more than one.
Hey, calm down. Oh, you know what? Now I'm gonna prove you wrong. It's gonna just be like a tool review. Like
You're not gonna have
It's a
5.
really nice pen. Hey, if you click it, like the bulb comes out. It's nice.
You showed me.
Yeah, I did.
Sick pen review, bro.
I'm gonna clip this, and that's gonna
Lighting
be a
YouTube
video on
on
my
fire.
channel. But my long-term goal is to be doing production of some kind that basically supplements my income in a way that I can just enjoy my time in a shop. I don't actually enjoy commission work. I find commission work to be like just having a deadline and a client going breathing down my neck, kind of stressful. And to me, it's such a I don't want it to turn it into a job. I want it to still be a hobby and fun.
Let me flip this on its head.
Yeah.
And I'll go first.
Yeah.
What would be your dream scenario with this? And I'm going to be ramping up to getting into more commissions because it's not my, let me finish what I'm saying. It's not my, I'm ramping up into it because it's a guaranteed-ish income and content. I don't feel like I can bet my family on it right now. Like I can't bet my family's income on it. Whereas I know I can't right now. I can't bet my family's income on commissions, but I'm working towards that. But my goal would be to just be doing content and building whatever I want. That's my goal. I mean, I'd love for the podcast to be a good part of that too. I know we've all talked about it. Like if this financially made sense, we'd do it multiple times a week or every day. I mean, we'd put out as much content as we could if it made sense. I mean, I'd love to be making content for my income, and I could build whatever I want. You got like Spagnolo kind of stuff. You know, he gets to build whatever he wants at any time, and it is very interesting because he's very good at it. That's my ultimate goal. What about you, Dan?
Exactly the same.
Sorry, Pete.
I'd love to build whatever my brain can
Heart
think
desires,
of.
yeah,
whatever my heart desires, and get paid for it. You know, that is the dream.
Yeah,
I don't see why that wouldn't be. I would love to go, I sure could use a nice entryway table and just build something out of my rear end.
Ugh.
And, well, you know what I mean.
I know. Pull something out of your rear end.
Walnut.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I would love to build whatever I want and get paid for it. And that's the only
I guess the question was dumb because I think it's
to,
obvious.
To get paid as a content creator.
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to stay very realistic with it. It's like, all right, am I gonna like? Because I haven't been in the world of like monetizing my videos or anything yet, so I really don't know what to expect. I've seen what people get, so in my mind, what I'm thinking is, I want my income to be split between podcast, content creation, and sponsors, and then the other part being production, meaning CNC and 3D printing, stuff that works while I work, stuff that is cutting or printing while I'm doing stuff. And that
I want that too.
Actually, so far, I didn't say printing for me has been amazing. And you know, one thing we didn't really talk about is the whole fusion thing. Maybe we should bring it up at some point.
I don't think we have enough information. I don't think we have enough information to discuss it. We're still a lot of questions on it. Why don't you and I look into that more this week and actually get a comparison together and then make a conversation about it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Basically, I'd like the production. I love when my robots, my machines work while I'm working. Or literally the 3D printer prints while I'm sleeping. I love that. It literally, you know, I joke around that it prints money, but I'm printing things that I'm selling. It prints me money. it prints things, and that allows me to put out content, put out more things. And I'm still working a full-time job, but it's allowing me to not waste that time on like making cutting boards or whatever in the shop. I don't have to physically be hands-on. I could kind of run that machine, and it's allowing me to make an income that's allowing me to tear away from maybe my job a little bit or some other gigs and make content. That's what I want to do.
Sorry, Pete. I want to do an addendum to mine as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I have my CNC. I'd like to do that in the background too. I'd like to make templates, whatever, any really fun, exciting thing, because the CNC can do that. Meanwhile, I can use the tools that I actually control with my hands to make whatever I want. So I do want a production element in the background. I think probably Katz Moses is probably the closest thing to what I would want to do, because I know he has a lot of the digital production machines as well that does things for other makers. So anyway, that's kind of anyway.
As long as we're making addendums, I just want to say I'm kind of living my dream right now as it is.
Yeah.
I'm self-employed.
12 chiladas a day.
Yeah.
Wake up at noon, do what I want, play Xbox most of the day.
Oh, you got an Xbox?
Work in the shop for 20 minutes.
You got Xbox?
I'm vanished. I need some NBA 2K. No,
I'm kind of living the dream right now as it is, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to have my position, so I don't take that for granted. That's all.
Since we're addenduming
yes,
all these things, yeah, I honestly in a way relate to and look up to like April Wilkerson a lot, because she was making a lot of fun stuff and just kind of having fun.
I mean, she's killing it.
But the thing is, that's what she was very low key about the fact that she was running her CNC almost nonstop with like random little side projects and pumping out like an extra side income. She wasn't really publishing it on her main channel, but that was just bringing in extra change. Well, it's because it's boring, but that's bringing in extra change, and then eventually leading to a point where she has now opened up a makerspace / like production shop.
Is it a makerspace?
I don't think it's a makerspace.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's just a commercial.
I think is it just commercial? I thought it was like.
Pretty sure it's just her commercial where she has employees making stuff for her.
No, like I would love to get to that point. I want to be eventually 10 years down the line, I want to have a business where I can go back and dial it back to, I want fun projects. I just get to work in my shop while I have a company or a brand working for me.
Yeah. That's
it. Okay. Very deep question, Bruce.
Yeah, I liked Bruce's question. That's good. It's like he's been on a podcast or does one.
It's good to have goals.
We built a thing. Okay, so I'm going to look more. Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Seriously, man. This next question is from Josh the Dad.
Hey guys, it's Josh the Dad. Yep, Josh the Dad, one of the big IG, coming at you with this week's question. Now, let's get back to some normal kind of questions this week, shall we? Okay, so I've got this friend, and, he's been spending the last month rearranging his shop for about the 100th time. And while he was doing that, he was getting ready to measure for a new workbench, and he went to move one of his old tables, and it's one of those old science slate top tables, and he grabbed it, and then as he dropped it, he kind of pinched the end of his finger, and it bled like a stuck pig. Now, he instantly went inside, washed his hands, and yelled for his wife to help him, and she was good enough to help him, but she laughed at him the whole time because, he was getting woozy and not feeling well. And so she tended to his wound. And, and for the 5 minutes that she didn't laugh at me, my friend's wife didn't laugh at him. She helped make sure that he didn't pass out and put Band-Aids on his finger. So my question is, how do you guys deal with little boo-boos in the shop? And do your wives laugh at you, or do they, take pity on you and help you out? Just kind of curious. And have a great week.
Dan?
I fill my little boo-boos with Starbond CA glue in their accelerator, and my wife loves me, so she doesn't laugh at me. I don't have that problem with getting woozy when I have little boo-boos, I guess. I've never had a major boo boo, thank God.
Podcast turned woozy boo boos. It's just so soft.
I find the nearest paper towel or rag or something and wrap it around my finger until I can get inside and put a Band-Aid on it again.
With ash, the porous grain just soaks it right in.
With a
Ash or
little
oak.
walnut stain.
No, not walnut. You just grab ash or oak. It's very porous.
What about you, Pete?
Well, Emma is very lovable, so she is, or loving. She will not make fun of
you're
me.
still in
She's
the honeymoon
instantly,
phase. That's so
yes,
nice.
still in a honeymoon stage. She will instantly be concerned. I often walk into the house and I'm just like holding something, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I just cut myself, or like I bump my hand or something, or I chiseled too hard. And she's like, "No, Peter, no, wait, are you okay?" Like this. She's like, "Oh, like very concerned." I'm like, "It's fine." I have this running joke with I forget who. I have no friends, but it's
Your mirror.
just pack some sawdust in it. Just like, "Oh, you're bleeding? Just pack some sawdust in it. You'll be fine."
Seems terribly irresponsible to
You're right.
recommend that.
Yeah. But in reality, like listen, I like I'll nick myself on some blade or something like that. Usually it's when I'm sharpening or hand tools or chisels. Just being dumb. But luckily I'm I'm extra careful anytime there's a motor running. Luckily there's been no big incidents.
running.
Yeah, it gets my motor running.
So dumb.
And I got a little first aid kit in the shop, but then if need be, I come inside, rinse it off, and then put a Band-Aid on it. Emma usually seems to be extra concerned. And for those of you that don't know, I grew up as a teenager lifeguarding, so I saw a lot of blood, a lot of injuries, a lot of Band-Aids. Sharks in pools.
So many sharks.
They love chlorine. Fun fact, they love chlorine.
Oh, it was a pool lifeguard, not like an ocean lifeguard. That makes way more sense.
No,
So if there were
there's pool sharks.
If there were I can't talk.
So when calm down, Dan. Just
Hold on. Hashtag Chilada. Go on, Pete.
So for me, like when I see blood, I'm just like, yeah. Also, fun fact, I work for a dialysis company, so I see blood anytime I go into the units and I see it a lot. So I'm fine. I don't faint because I'm a man. I weep like a child, but I won't faint. What about you, Mike?
I've never really had any like serious shop injuries. I've had
boo boos.
I've never had any serious woodworking area boo boos. No, I've never had any like real serious ones. I got my wrist pretty bad once, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was nothing bad. My wife is like has the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met in my whole life. So if I'm like, oh, my shoulder hurts, she's like, oh my God, it's like a huge deal. She's like, oh, let's go check it out. But she definitely doesn't laugh at me and call me names when it happens. So, but one time I took a day off from work. This is like 2 years ago. No, this is like 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years. Whenever we just bought this house, so 4.5 years ago, I took the day off work and I was going to replace all the outlets in the whole house with, they had like those like off-white outlets. I just can't stand them. And I replaced them all with the white, like Decoro ones, the square ones. I just wanted that. So I got to the very last one in our kitchen and the outlet was like, I couldn't get the actual outlet to come out of the wall. It was like stuck in there. And I'm pushing on it with a flathead screwdriver and it slips and the flathead goes under my thumbnail and rips it off. I've never felt pain like that in my life. I started like
felt it in my hand.
I felt like I was gonna throw up. Like I was like, oh, like the pain was so bad, and I started to like get real lightheaded, and like I called Robin. I'm like, I just took my thumbnail off. I could barely. She's like, what? I was like, I took my thumbnail off with the screwdriver. She's like, how do you even do that? I'm like, it's gone, Robin. The thumbnail's gone. It hurts so bad. And she's like, I'm in a meeting. I gotta go. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, I'm so sorry. We're right in the middle of diagnosing this kid.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. She's like, I'm right in the middle of diagnosing this kid. I'm like, I got it. I was like, okay, you go. I'll be fine. Everything's fine. So I'm like, I like sit down and I like slowly like I'm walking to our bathroom, and like everything's all like crazy, you know, it's like all the lights are bright and everything's all crazy sideways. And I'm like walking down our hallway holding my hand like a little baby pigeon, and like my thumbnails hanging off there, and it's just disgusting looking, you know. And I get into our bathroom and I sit down, yeah, and I sit down on our toilet, and or on our bathtub on the edge of it. I'm like, so I call my dad up. He's the only person I can think to call. I call my dad. I'm like, Dad, Daddy. No, I called my dad. I'm like, hey, listen, I took my thumbnail off. He's like, oh God, I did that with my ring finger years ago. He's like, it's horrible. I was like, yeah. He's like, you need to put it under cold water. I'm like, okay. And I stand up and I pull the rest of the nail off. It was hanging on by some like tissue, you know, and like pull it off. And I was like, oh, and I feel like I was gonna throw up. I turn on the cold water. I put my thumb into there. I thought I was going to die. It was like all nerve endings and stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as that water hit my finger, I was like, oh! It was like this deep guttural like yell. And my dad's like, are you okay? I was like, oh! It's like there's so much scream. I was like, ah! and I hang up the phone because I'm just yelling like in so much pain. And I lay on the ground and I'm holding, you know, the baby pigeon thumb in my hand, and I'm just like, why is this happening to me? I'm just like and it was like that for like 20 minutes. It was just like this excruciating amount of pain. And then eventually, I don't know what happened. Then the pain, I guess my thumb went into shock or something, because the pain just went away.
Your thumb went into shock.
You went in shock.
Yeah,
You went in shock.
Yeah, it was just my thumb, I'm pretty sure. But the but I couldn't feel the pain anymore, because like I'd like blow on it, I'd like, and it'd be like, I felt like a bunch of daggers were like, like right in my thumb, like super bad. But the pain just went away, and I couldn't put a Band-Aid on it because it's just like open like tissue, you know what I mean? And it was just like, if you put that on there and it like binds to it, you know, and then you have to take the Band-Aid off, I couldn't even.
CA glue on it. Fake glue.
What? Yeah, CA glue. I didn't even know what
glue.
that was. I didn't even know what that was then. So I'm like, anyway, yeah, so that happened. It was terrible. It was one of the most painful moments. There's like 3 super painful moments in my life, and that was definitely one of them.
I
And
kind of want to hear the other two.
bones.
Oh,
The
I
other
wanna
2
hear
were
the other
breaking
two.
bones. And
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
you want me to go into that, but those were nightmares as well. So
Also, I love how we're the 3 most sarcastic a-holes, and we have the sweetest wives ever.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty nice. I don't know what this a-hole's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you naked. You're not nice.
What?
What? Oh, sorry. I thought it's just a pre-show.
Did
Sorry.
you hack the website, my OnlyFans website?
Fans
Um,
only. Get it right.
I'm
Fans
literally
only. Oops, dang it.
crying. I'm literally
Uh,
crying.
Speaking of fans
Yes.
only, Dan, I feel like all of our fans entered a giveaway.
Oh yeah.
That was
oh my
super
gosh.
smooth.
Let me get to this.
Oh man,
But
yeah,
I
that was
blindside you.
I gotta put yeah. Well,
So I just imagine
sorta.
when you were describing that story, Mike, that like you like the second you got that nail under, or the screwdriver under
the
your
screwdriver
nail,
head.
it turned into like the wasted sign, was just a went to dark.
from GTA.
The GTA faded
No,
away.
I can still see, like, it was like it broke. You know how they have the ears on the outlets to when you screw them in, you know, it has like the little ears in the
Yeah.
corners. That's what I was trying to get out of the spot. I could like see
trying
it
to
in
figure out how
slow
you did
motion,
that.
like go the blade, not the blade, but the flathead going over and getting underneath my thumbnail and just it severing the tissue and it ripping. Oh, it was terrible, guys. It was horrible.
Imagine if it was a Phillips head.
I would have died. I would have died that day. If it was a Phillips head, I would have been dead. It's like, if it was a Torx, I would have been in like 4 pieces on the ground. just laying there, just a bloody pile. It would have looked like Gears of War in my
Whenever he
kitchen or
sees
something.
Whenever he sees a torque screw, he has flashbacks.
It's like that cat flashback in
PTSD.
Vietnam.
Thing behind. God.
So stupid.
So dumb.
But anyway,
So giveaway.
throw it over to Dan for the giveaway. Who's the giveaway brought to us by?
Dan's having trouble breathing.
Brought to you to us by Macbeth.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Every
there
week
you
we
go.
do a giveaway sponsored by Macbeth. Big thank you to Macbeth for sponsoring these every week.
Oh, show.
This is week 14 of the giveaway. Actually, last week was week 14. This is week 15, but I'm talking about week 14 right now. And we gave away a DeWalt package, and that came with a double-edged saw, like a Japanese pole saw, a 25-foot tape measure, and a 7-inch like speed square. And the winner last week for that prize was Brian Gwilliam, or G Will on Instagram.
Sweet.
I've already reached out to him.
Very cool.
Congratulations, Brian.
Chilada
Can.
That's how he signals to win. He
I have
bangs the can.
my nose is running from laughing so hard.
Oh.
Like literally. Week 15 giveaway sponsored by Macbeth Hardwood. We are giving away the Microjig Dado Stop Pro. That is a
Sick.
$55 value, you guys.
That's sick.
It's sick.
I don't have this item, and I want it very badly. So
Yeah, it looks pretty
it looks
cool.
dope.
Code phrase this week. I have one option only, and this is what we're going with. Sawdust Band-Aid.
Okay, let's go with it. Pete did not look entertained by that one.
I don't
That's
care
fun.
what
That's it stops the blood. Who cares?
It stops the blood.
Stops the blood.
So you need to send Sawdust Band-Aid to us on our Instagram, Another Woodshop Podcast on IG, or email us at anotherwoodshoppodcast@gmail.com with Sawdust Band-Aid.
Cool.
This week's giveaway.
Very
Back to
cool.
the show.
So we're pushing up on the 56-minute mark. I think we should. We don't have any other questions, so I think we decided to read some questions here.
Yeah, we had a
Because-
good one that
Did
talked
we?
about cutting boards, didn't we?
Oh yes, that is
Oh,
a
dang,
very
we
good
did.
question.
We could have rolled that in with Adrienne Vita's
We could have,
question about
but we're really
vegetable
bad
oil,
at this.
but we're not
So,
pros.
We're going to go to this question. This is from Bradley Lyons with Lyons Legacy Woodworking. His question is there a solution for making cutting boards to use for cutting meat on? I've heard cutting meat on wooden cutting boards is not good because the raw meat could absorb into the cutting board and would not be good in the future. Love the podcast. I'm almost caught up. Thank you for taking our questions. This is a very old question, so hopefully he's caught up by now. We haven't gotten into written in questions in a while, so I'm going to actually throw this one to Pete because he has made over 7,000 cutting boards in his life.
No, in the thousands of cutting boards that I've made.
7,000.
Yeah, and the 7 I finished completely.
0.01% finish rate.
Yeah. So, all right, think of a butcher shop, a legitimate butcher shop that probably has one of those, like they're usually about 24 inches by 24 inches, just legitimately end grain butcher block, just solid wooden thing of just end grain with a couple legs on it. They've been cutting meat on that for years. They usually just hose it down. That's all they do. And I know that for a fact because several of the butchers, and for those of you that don't know, I'm Polish, and there's a lot of Polish butchers around here. They're everywhere, and they all use the same style butcher block. And I'm pretty sure they don't disinfect it. They just kind of spray it down. They might condition it or something, or spray it down with some. I know one of the butchers, they clean it with vinegar and lemon juice. That's what they use for it. But as far as using meats on cutting boards, you're fine. Especially if they're cooked meats, you're totally fine. The only one I personally will not cut on a cutting board is chicken. With what is it, salmonella, right? The one you can get from chicken.
Yeah.
One. Yeah, like that's the one. That's the one thing that kind of scares me. I always recommend same thing to my customers, and anyone that I talk to about it. Kind of lean towards the same way. You know, if you're cutting like steak on it, or especially anything cooked, who cares? But raw meat, I'm gonna stay away from that. The second one I might stay away from is pork occasionally, but it shouldn't be too bad. You should not be afraid to use meat on your boards. You make sure the oil is in there so that the other juices don't go into it. That's why you have to season your board occasionally, every couple of weeks to months, depending on how heavily you use it and how much you wash it. The oil and the wax that's in the pores is what's preventing the juices from going in there. That's just my take on it. Dan, what do you think?
I agree.
Yep.
Cutting meats on your cutting boards is perfectly safe. And as a matter of fact, I just looked this up while Pete was talking, and this is straight from the USDA.gov website. Meat and Poultry Hotline says consumers may use wood for cutting raw meat and poultry. However, consider using a cutting board for fresh produce and bread separate from raw meat. So it's perfectly fine for raw meat, according to the USDA. Just use something different for produce and bread.
Yep. I use a plastic one for chicken and pork. Everything else gets cut on the regular wooden one.
Yeah, and what Pete said, the finish that you put on your board actually seals up the pores so that the bacteria and stuff doesn't get into the board. You just have to clean it with vinegar and lemon juice, or I use soap and water on my boards, and I'm still alive.
Here's the thing.
I'm not dead.
If I can just interject one more time, most people that are buying cutting boards from a store, they're not getting any care instructions. They're not getting, like, you guys see the Boos, whatever, BOOS cutting boards.
Boost boards.
Like, yeah, whatever. They're just like the generic. They just pump them out. They're nice boards, but they come with no care instructions. They don't come with oil, nothing. So people will just they'll throw them in a dryer or the dishwasher, or they'll wash them in a sink and like not care and never ever seal them. I have seen those boards used for years and they just look like trash. They're literally uneven. They're carved out. There's no oil left in them, and people are still using them. And I'm like, this is not sanitary. I'm sorry. You need some oil on this. You got to refinish this top. No, end of rant. Sorry, Mike.
I have nothing to add.
No, thanks.
Ditto is actually what we say around here.
Sorry, I don't mean to go off on a whole rant.
It's fine. The answer was answered, or the question was answered, and that's what we
answer
try
was
to do
answered.
here. The answer was questioned.
That's where the
This
answer
is
will.
from JM_artisan_M_D. He says, when you go, or when he asks, when you go to buy a new tools, where do you get your reviews or info for the tool you are body?
Mike read it exactly as it's written.
So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that one.
No, it's a good question.
Nope. So basically, based on my translation, is do you go look at reviews before you buy a new tool, Pete?
I just to quote our last episode, I'm about 0.3333% reviews. The other third is actually asking people, and the other third is review video, like kind of videos about it and how it works. I kind of will judge it, but I like to make my own decision. Like just kind of like, most tools these days you can buy and return if you don't like it. So if you really do hate the tool, you can return it. But if you see something like a Festool domino, you see everyone's using it, everyone's loving it. Like, all right, I still want to put my hands on it. And I've been messing around with the one I got, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed. It's pretty dope. But I didn't know 100% until I had it in my hands. That's just my take. I'm usually about a third. I do my research about it, but then at the end, I want to decide because I might hate it. It might not work for me. Mike?
I pretty much don't look at tool reviews anymore. Well, I look at tool review videos, but I don't look at like the 5-star review at the bottom of the page. Because here's my take on tools. And for me, I feel like this person's asking about big tools, which you really can't return those. I mean, you can make a stink about like a jointer and they'll probably take it back eventually, but you're dealing with the dealer. It's going to be a nightmare.
You're right.
So, but on like, I feel like I have enough knowledge in my own head now to where I don't really watch reviews anymore. Like I kind of feel like I have a good idea about how these tools work and what brands are good. But to answer this question, I feel like tool reviews are garbage because put yourself in the situation. You just bought $3,000 joiner. You got it and you can't get the bed's coplanar. You can't shim it. There's no amount of anything. Let's make it something even more egregious. The motor is burnt out right when you got it. Okay. You got it. It's really bad. Something's really wrong. You're trying to get it fixed. Now, in your head, it needs to be fixed right away. But in reality, it was bought from a dealer, from a manufacturer, and the tools from Taiwan. All these tools come from the same 3 factories. That all the big brands, they come from the same 3 factories. That's Powermatic, Jet, Laguna, Grizzly, Raycon. All these guys make it in the same factories. They just buy them at different grades. So it's not easy. It's closer to buying a bad car than it is buying a sander when you buy these big tools. So when this happens to you, the first thing you're going to do is go make a terrible review on it. This tool came to me busted. They killed my dog and then they stole one of my kids. It's like they're going to make this terrible review about it because they're going to be vocal. And it's understandable why they're going to be vocal. But on the other side of that coin is, unfortunately, if you get a nice tool and nothing goes wrong with it, you're probably not going to make a review about it. So the only feedback you're getting about tools is negative. So you need to take it with a grain of salt. So for me, it's so bad that it's completely valueless. These big tool reviews are completely valueless because of this situation. From what I've noticed, I love Laguna. I love Laguna tools. Everyone's like, oh man, I hear so many customer service stories about them. I've never had that issue. I've never once had that issue. They've been great. They're not, they're as fast as any other company. But the problem is people spend a lot of money on a tool and the negative gets out there a lot easier than the positive does. So I'm not writing any blog posts about how good my tools are. I'm just not going to, and no one's ever going to do that. So that positive word doesn't really get out. Also, everyone's experience is different. And you're not going to get the same experience as the next person. And you can't really expect that to happen either. I really, as you get into these more expensive tool purchases, you are getting closer to a car purchase than anything. It's not like a sander. Like I said, like a sander, Pete was saying you could return that. You get like a $60 Bosch sander, one of their entry level DeWalt sanders, whatever.
Large tools.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You just take it back. Oh, hey, this thing doesn't work. They'll give you another one that costs $20 to make. That's easy. It's a consumable at that point. But when you're talking about bigger tools, do your research. But I just don't trust those tool reviews. Sorry, Dan.
I 100% agree with Mike. You're just not going to get an equal balance of positive and negative on those tool reviews, especially like on Amazon or whatever. I like to watch tools in action, like videos on YouTube. I can't remember the account, but he likes to show this product versus this product. He likes to show like head to head what the tools are going to be like. So I look for stuff like that. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat or something. So yeah, YouTube videos. I can't add much more to what Mike said. He kind of nailed it. Pete, did you answer yet?
I did.
Alrighty.
Well, the thing that made me I didn't really think of like large tools, but yeah, I agree with Dan which is tools in action. That's why I like Instagram, because it shows people using the tools in different ways. It really it helps you form your own opinion of it.
Find people you trust. Find people you trust in the space. Yes. Observe them and then see what they're saying about things. Your
honest opinion, because you're right. There's plenty of people that are just like, this is the best joiner I ever used. It's so great. It's so awesome. But guess what? It was free, and they got a bunch of upgrades for it, and they got paid to say those words.
Right. So there's a lot of things involved with those. You need to find out. That's why I say find someone you can trust. Yeah. There's people out there who just huck whatever is thrown at them. I almost made a joke. But anyway, there's some people that almost huck whatever's thrown at them, and they'll just huck whatever is put on their lap to put out in front of people. So find someone who you find is consistent and trustworthy, and that you feel like is, I guess, just consistent and trustworthy. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's nothing else I
consistent.
can add to that.
Yeah.
Just find someone who you think you can trust, or not just one person. Don't put it all in one. Find people who you can reliably get information from, and don't seem that like they're bought. So,
Yeah.
let's do one more, and then
Yeah, squeeze it in.
we'll call. This is from Tyler Kimball, Meg Shark 19. I know that guy. Question for the podcast. I have I have 9 pieces of 8/4 red oak that's 13 inches by 11 foot. Well, that's big stuff. Some big stuff.
That is big
Um,
stuff.
Understanding most opinions of red oak, I have run out of ideas on usage. So, what do you do when you have free hardwood that you don't love? Great pod, keep it up. I'll tell you what I did with my red oak. I India inked it, and I'm turning it into shop furniture, and it looks sick. So that's something I did. And if you have a piece of red oak, you know, there are people who do like red oak. I mean, yeah, Dan likes red oak. He's stupid. So, so there are people who like red oak. So maybe you can like look for a customer that would want that. Cause I mean, there's people who like it. I don't like it personally. So what I did is what I had is I Indie inked it and I turned it into something I did like. So, and you know, I don't know what your woodworking knowledge or the extent of your woodworking is, but if you got it for, I think he said he got it for free, right? Yeah, he got it for free hardwood.
Yes. Yep.
He said he got it for free. Use it to learn on. Make some stuff that's difficult. Like really
Yes.
challenge yourself with it. Make a table. Make something that's really difficult. Some new joinery. Do some cool stuff with it that you wouldn't do with a wood that you do care about. So that's what I would say. Dan?
I would absolutely make a table. I mean,
Yeah. That's a lot of pieces of wood.
it's a heck of a lot of wood, and you can make a big old table out of it. You could easily make a big farmhouse table out of it. That might not be your thing, farmhouse, but if you want to learn something and challenge yourself, make a farmhouse table, do your own joinery, and then put it up for sale in the marketplace.
Yeah.
You know,
See if it
you'll
sells.
learn something out of it, and you could sell it. And red oak is easy to stain if you want to go that route. Like, I don't always advocate for staining, but you know, you can stain red oak and give it a darker color or something.
Do
Make it
whatever
look a
you got
little
to do to
better.
sell it.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful wood to start with and work on. And
It tools really well too.
it tools great. And I'm in the minority here, but I think it smells great when you're cutting it. I like it.
Pete?
Well, you guys remember a couple of months ago I had like way too much cherry in my
No.
shop?
Yeah, I do.
The slabs. Yeah. So even when it's a nice wood, because I love working with cherry. It tools really well. It looks pretty nice. It's no walnut, but it's pretty dang nice. And I think you guys you praised it a lot in the last episode too.
I love cherry. I don't work
Cherry's
with it
great.
nearly enough. It's great.
I love cherry. Not enough to like do everything out of cherry. You know? So I had so much of it in a shop that I was just kind of like, I was at the same point. Like, not that it was undesirable wood, but it was just kind of like, I'm kind of over cherry right now. Like, what do I do with it? So I started slapping it on shop furniture, making random things like headphone stands, and practicing on. I was using it for joinery because it's really easy to practice with. So that's another thing to think about. We talked about this at one of the other episodes. Wood, what is it? Wood hardness and the way it tools is very important. So like if you're practicing, like say like, oh, pine is great, but pine's also super soft. If you're gonna like practice joinery, something like, for example, cherry is really good to practice with. It tools really nicely. It cuts really nice with a chisel. You can practice with it. And aside from that, just make stuff you just want to make and don't have to make. Shop furniture, stuff around the house, practice things. Best way to do it. And the other option, sell it. Some people really love redwood and just
Red oak.
sell the stuff. Red oak.
Yeah.
I said redwood. Red oak. Just sell it. Put it on Facebook Marketplace. It's 8/4. It's thick. People are gonna want it. You know, so put it out there. If it's taking up room in your shop, sell it. I sold a bunch of cherry because I just had way too much, and I got some money for it. So
I wish I got all your cherry.
yeah, sorry.
This couldn't have happened.
Emma's gonna take Pete's cherry.
Hey,
What? We're talking about wood, right?
yes, that's it.
So are we gonna call this one? Because I'm getting real sleepy,
I
guys.
think we should call it because Mike's
Yeah.
getting sleepy because it's 9:30 over there.
No, it's not.
I'm
'cause it's
getting, I'm
late.
getting coffee. Get it? No, I got a tickle in my throat. I got the COVID or something.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
God. You're not coming to Cali.
You can't stop me. You're not my dad.
Well, let's wrap this thing up. Pete, you want to do the outro? Since
Yeah,
it's
you
been
know
so
who
long?
also can't be stopped? Our patrons and our followers, because they just can't stop leaving us voicemails at 754-2255-297 or
Sick read, bro.
recording them on their phone and sending them over to us in whatever format they choose. Some of them might not work. That's a little nod to
Yes.
next week. So if you guys do have any questions, comments, concerns about the podcast, please send them over to us. Best way to do it is record a voice memo, send it over to anotherwoodshop@gmail.com, and make sure to check out the podcast on Instagram and starting this week on YouTube at youtube.com/anotherwoodshop podcast. That's right. We hit over 100 subscribers and we officially have our own domain, subdomain, whatever. URL. Yeah. I am
Pete's
all
our
that.
IT guy.
Pete's our IT guy.
Yes, I am. That's right. And aside from that, if you want to check out any of these three fools, Dan, Pete, or Mike, check them out on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, all under the same handles: Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, Coffee Custom Builds, and Petrie's Workshop. And
Boom.
of course, we would love for you guys to leave some reviews. We had our, sad to say, our first week a couple weeks ago where no one left a review, and it was very sad. We were very
bogus.
upset. We drank a lot. A lot of coladas were drank. So make sure to leave us a review. And the thing that helps
Yes,
us the
please.
most is share the podcast.
Yes,
Share
please.
how much you love or hate it. Doesn't matter. Just post it in your stories. We'll repost it.
Unless you say you
that
don't
helps
like
us
it.
grow a lot. And the more we grow, the more we're able to offer you guys these little mini shows, pre-shows, Patreon content.
It was a lot of
That's all I
fun doing
got.
that Wednesday show.
That
Yeah,
was
That was a
really fun.
blast.
It was nice
Yeah.
to have. We need to do that every once in a while. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, big thanks to Total Boat as well. Thanks to them for sponsoring the show. Big thanks
And
to all you
Sticker
who
Beat
listen.
for the stickers.
Yep, Sticker Beat for the stickers. Really appreciate them. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Let's wrap this thing up. I think this next week's going to be a good one. Pete's back. Dan's going to wrap up his desk. I'm going to get my shop back. I'm really excited about this week. I'm excited about next week's show. Let's close this thing down, guys. You guys have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Love you long time.
Kill it.